What's going on, everybody? So this is a follow-up video to my most recent video about open carry in Florida. I actually spoke to the attorney that was over the case, Eric Friday, who represented Mr. McDaniel in this ruling. So I had a lot of people who had questions and didn't believe what I had put out. So he reached out to me and I called him back and we spoke today. So I have a video I'm going to put in now, cover everything that we talked about and the actual law regarding Florida open carry. A lot of people are saying, oh, you're not a lawyer, that's improper information. So I'm going to give you the information directly from the horse's mouth. So you're saying that it doesn't go in effect fully until the 26th, correct?
No, the Attorney General issued guidance this morning about 9:30,
Okay.
10 o'clock, that the decision is effective with the date on the decision, which would be September 10th of 2025 or last Wednesday.
Okay.
So the decision is in effect now. The only person that has the authority to appeal or seek any type of stay of this decision is the Attorney General's office and the Attorney General himself, and he has made very clear in his statement this morning that he will not be seeking any type of relief to delay the decision. It is effective immediately, and it is final after the 25th.
Okay. All right. For sure. So I'll be sure to include this and let everybody know, because I had a lot of people saying, oh, it's only for certain areas. But from what my understanding was, what the Attorney General said was that it was for the entirety of Florida. So I just wanted to make sure that was the case.
That's his statement, and we have. I know that several sheriffs have come out and said that they don't believe it's effective until the 26th.
Okay.
I do know that some of them have reversed that position after further talks with their lawyers, and Florida Carry is doing everything it can to make everybody aware in law enforcement that the decision is in fact effective immediately and of the Attorney General's guidance.
Okay. And do you mind just telling me your name so everybody else that will be watching this knows?
Yep, I'm Eric Friday. I was the attorney for Mr. McDaniels in the McDaniels v. State decision that was rendered last week on open carry, and I'm general counsel for Florida Carry, a firearms rights organization here in the state of Florida.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you for reaching out to me, and I'll be sure to share this with everybody as soon as I can.
Good luck, Jason. Have a great day.
Thank you, man. You too. That aside, hopefully the lighting's a little better than the last video. This is not my normal recording spot, so the lighting was all off. This is not my regular setup. It's makeshift. I could not use my regular spot at the moment. So with him making the last video, I had about 4 topics that kind of came up that I wanted to address. So number 1 is going to be how to deal with armed encounters with law enforcement. Number 2 is going to be how to deal with armed conflict. Number 3 is going to be working holster retention drills and stuff like that. And number 4 is going to be the benefits of still having a concealed carry weapons license. I did a whole video on this, but I just want to give one of the main points as to why that's important. We'll get to that towards the end. So number 1, law enforcement, right? You really can't escape them, especially being here. So how do you go about dealing with that? So number 1, respect goes a long way. I know a lot of you are like, well, I know my rights. I don't need to volunteer information. I don't need to be, for carrying a firearm, I shouldn't be stopped and frisked. That's illegal, which is true. They can't just stop and frisk you for open carrying. That's a fact, right? So you can still know your rights, but still be respectful. If you do at any point have an officer that wants to pull the gun off of you, there's no real easy way to go about it, but I personally would never give a officer my gun with my own hands. So if a cop was like, hey, look, we're gonna disarm you for now, give me your gun, I personally like, look, I'd be more comfortable if you grab it yourself. Just please keep it in the holster, or just make sure, because again, we have seen instances like where the guy, I think up in like North Florida, got shot with his Glock 30, I think it was like last year or something like that. And it is possible. Again, there are a lot of police officers and people in the military who do not train. I've seen it. I've seen at the range just officers who don't handle guns very well and cannot shoot very well. Probably should have picked a different profession. It happens, right? But that being said, it's a little more critical when it comes to your life. So try to be calm about the situation if that was to ever arise, but just ask, hey, could you at least just take the gun off with the holster? Just please make sure you're not touching the trigger. Be polite, be cautious, just try to make sure, they go about doing it in a safe manner. You don't know who you're dealing with, right? Yes, some cops, very safe, very educated, know their firearms very well. Some, not so much. So you don't know, again, like I said, who you're dealing with on that day. So just try to treat them all with respect, and make sure if you do have to end up letting go of your firearm for a period of time, just try to have them do it in the safest manner possible. Keep in mind that every police officer is still a person behind that badge. Just like there are good and bad people, there are good and bad cops. My dad has been a sergeant with the city of Miami for a long time. He's a great dude. So are all of his coworkers that I personally know really well. They're great people. I have a bunch of family members who are also law enforcement, and they are good people. That aside, though, I have run into bad apples. The way you minimize that is being respectful. The way my dad always taught me, I learned this from watching him and having him tell me stories or teach me things, but with both of my parents, they would always tell me, look, you're not going to win a battle with the officer right there. So if you're not agreeing with them, don't get loud, don't have sporadic movements, don't become threatening, especially if he knows you have a firearm. In the state of Florida, you do not have to let the officer know you have a gun unless they ask. So that is up to you if you get pulled over and you don't let them know. It has worked in some instances where I've seen it takes the officer's stress level down, and sometimes it heightens it. Again, you don't know who you're running into. There's still people behind the badge, and they bring their beliefs from home to the job oftentimes, even though they're supposed to be fairly neutral. So if you get somebody who's anti-gun or doesn't support the fact that a civilian carries a firearm, they may not react well to you, and that's fine, but it's up to you to make that interaction go as smoothly as possible. If you feel like your rights are being violated, again, just shut your mouth, let them do what they have to do. If they have to take you in, whatever, fight it in court. But one thing my dad always taught me, you're not going to win right then and there. I have personally had multiple armed encounters, concealed and open, with police officers here in Florida. Matter of fact, as you can see, like I have on a Keys shirt. I go down to the Keys a lot with my friends, and we like to go fish off the bridge. I don't do it when I'm out in the boat like with my dad, because I don't like the saltwater spray getting on my gun and stuff. But when I'm on the bridge, I'll open carry just so I don't have it up against me while I'm bending over trying to fish, bending over the rail. I don't want it in my way. So with that, I have had multiple encounters with police officers, and they've been okay. I was respectful. I didn't touch my gun. I didn't make them feel uncomfortable in any form or fashion. I respected them. They respected me. We both understood that we were armed individuals, and we need to, respect each other. That's fine. At the end of the day, you got to understand, everybody just wants to make it home to their family. So I treat every cop with respect. Listen, if they know I'm carrying a gun, they see the gun. It's never actually been brought up when I was carrying openly. They didn't care. But even in my open carry encounters, I've never had a bad one. They just wanted to know what was in the coolers, make sure, fishing license maybe been up to date or anything like that. But as far as the gun, they didn't care. It all goes back to what I said in the original video about, being presentable, be respectful. It's all about how you carry yourself. That typically will get you a long way. And then again, you still might run into a cop who just wants to press the issue, but you're not going to win there. So let them do what they're going to do. Just sit back, chill, relax, be quiet, deal with it in court. Keep in mind, being a police officer is a high-stress job. I know a lot of people don't like the police. I know a lot of good police officers. And like I said, I have met bad ones as well, but I don't think a lot of them deserve the hate that they get, because try to do a job like that in today's environment, especially with so many people wanting to defund you, they hate you, you get so many different things said to you in different areas. No matter what you do, you can't do it right in the public eye. So I understand that their job is stressful. Have friends as well that are police officers, so I completely understand. And you just need to understand that these people are people, and just like you get stressed at work because you had a rough day, they do too. That's their job. They just happen to do this for a living. You have a different occupation, but this is what they do. So they're dealing with people all day. You don't know if they had to just arrest like 10 gangbangers who are yelling at them all armed and they're just on edge. So again, try to take the edge off. Just be respectful. It goes a long way. They see that you're being a cordial, calm individual, they'll likely give you the same respect. Number 2, let's talk about armed conflict, right? So in terms of armed conflict, a lot of people tend to forget we live in Florida. Our nickname is the Gunshine State. Most people that I know here in Florida have a gun, like at least one gun. But everyone I know just about that's close to me tends to carry a firearm in terms of my friends. So a lot of people have been carrying guns in Florida for a long time. As of now, yes, we have open carry. Prior to that, there was permitless carry, so you could conceal without a permit. I still have a permit. I'm gonna get to that in another segment. Aside from that, you had to have a concealed carry weapons license to carry prior to permitless carry, but you could still have a loaded gun in your car. So people have always had guns around them, guns with them in Florida. I don't see this causing a big influx of issues in terms of armed encounters, but that aside, if you are carrying a gun, you should at the very minimum practice or have practice conflict resolution skills. Even if you feel like, okay, look, I can take this guy, or because I have a gun, I feel big, powerful, and bold. If a gun is an ego driver for you, you shouldn't be carrying one. If you have anger issues, you should not be carrying a gun. You know what you have and how your body is, how you are personally. So if you know your temperament is not suited to carrying a weapon that you could easily kill somebody with, don't do it. You're responsible. Your duty as an armed citizen becomes a lot greater when you're armed, because you're held to a lot higher standard. If you get into an altercation, say with somebody who's unarmed, knowing you have a gun, even if they see you have a gun, a lot of people will tell you, oh yeah, you think you're big and bad because you got a gun? People say that, right? Look, walk away, right? As long as they don't attack you, walk away, remove yourself. Even if you're within the legal spectrum, Florida is not, a state that you have to retreat. It's a stand your ground state. But just keep in mind, do you really want to go through court? Do you really want to go, like, a lot of these shoots that happen in these kind of situations end up having to be investigated. So you're going to lose time and money, be it to court, to jail, whatever. Just avoid it. You win all the confrontations you can avoid. Just leave. Walk away. Breathe, right? If the person's not attacking you, they say what they want to say. You can call me whatever. I'm walking away. I don't care. I'm carrying a gun. I understand that. It is a much higher responsibility than just being an unarmed citizen, which even then you shouldn't walk around being a terrible person, but having a gun just amplifies that. So check your ego, check your anger. If you have any of those things that go unchecked, you just shouldn't be carrying. That's just how that goes. So, example, if you run into another armed citizen and you guys get into an altercation, they step on your shoes, they bump your shoulder, you both can end each other's lives. And a lot of times I see people who carry that can't even shoot that well. So you might even be a liability to somebody else around you. So you two get into it, one dies, one goes to jail, or you both get injured severely or injure somebody else. Now you possibly ended a life into somebody else's life, your life. You probably have kids, a family, mom, dad, whatever, people that want to see you come home. So keep in mind, this is a tool to defend your life. You're carrying this to stop a threat if it's going to cause you imminent bodily harm or possibly death, or in defense of somebody else in that same situation. This also applies to violent felonies as well. But aside from that, this is not something you pull out and brandish. You should not be showing the gun. Keep it in the holster unless you're planning to use it. That's how I've always been taught. If you don't plan on using the gun, do not pull it out, because oftentimes it just escalates the situation. And now if you don't use it and you pull it out to threaten somebody, you're facing brandishing charges. I have friends who have done this, and I've told them multiple times they're lucky that they did not get in trouble. And I have friends that I tell, you shouldn't be carrying a gun because you can't control your temper. And some of these people, believe it or not, are in places of like law enforcement and military. So I digress. Next up, aside from having the proper equipment, proper mindset, proper situational awareness, you should also practice weapon retention, right? So for starters, if you're going to run with a set of gear, whatever you use, be it a tourniquet, be it a plate carrier, a rifle, a pistol, whatever you use, you should train and be very proficient with whatever platform or whatever tools you use. So one, that's to not be a liability to people that are around you, because as a law-abiding citizen, you're there to protect yourself and or somebody else that's in need. So you should be able to do that quickly and efficiently if necessary with the tool you have. That also goes into holsters. Think of it like training a punch. So if you train the same punch 100 times, right? If you ever have to actually fight somebody, hypothetically here, you're going to be a lot better off if you can throw that one punch that you've practiced versus never throwing a punch and this is the first time you're doing it. Now your body is going to not react as smoothly because it's never been through the motions, doesn't understand what you're asking it to do, and it's just kind of reacting, right? So if you're going to open carry with the proper holster, maybe get a friend, get a dummy gun, or ensure that your firearm is unloaded and you can practice weapon retention. So have a friend maybe go from behind you or the side of you, and you can kind of practice on how to pinch your gun in, or, different methods. Maybe you can have a weak side knife to help you defend against people that may be trying to steal your weapons. There's a bunch of different options, that you can use. Like what I do typically is when we train, we'll kind of go through the motions of like keeping the weapon on your person. And I also do carry a lot of times a knife on my weak side, so if necessary, fixed blade, I can pull it out, I can make space, whatever. But however you decide, just train so that way if anybody ever does try to snatch your gun off of your belt, your body kind of goes into a mode of reaction versus like, oh, this is the first time I'm seeing this, what do I do? You may not even be that good at it, but that little bit of training the same movements over and over may save you or give you time and buy you time to make sure you can keep your gun on your body and not up the wrong person's hand. There's many different ways to train. You can look online, you can watch videos on YouTube, you can just kind of even yourself practice some things that you feel like would help you retain the weapon. Anything is better than doing nothing, right? As long as you're being safe. And lastly, the concealed carry weapons license, I still say is beneficial in Florida. I did a whole video on this, but I'll give you a quick rundown as to why I say it's beneficial. So first and foremost, I even didn't put this in the original video I did on this, but carrying a firearm within 1,000 feet of a school without a concealed carry weapons license here in Florida is a Class 3 felony. A lot of people don't know that. So you can carry, which is fine. But like me, for example, I live in Miami. I think on my way to drop my sister off to school, I go through maybe like 3 or 4 school zones. So imagine, right? You're minding your business, rolling through a school zone, not even thinking twice about it. You get pulled over, right? Cop's upset with you, you did something stupid, and now he wants to prove a point. You can become a felon for simply just carrying a firearm under the permitless carry law, right? And a lot of people don't know that, so they think, oh, I'm not, donating money to the government. I'm not asking permission for a right. And I completely understand that. I do understand where people come from with that. But again, I'm not one that likes to put my freedom in somebody else's hands if I have the ability to do so. So I'd much rather have a concealed carry weapons license, knowing that there are so many different schools everywhere. To add to that, I mean, if you do buy guns on a frequent basis or even periodically, you don't have a waiting period. You do have to still take a background check. I don't know why that is such a thing that people think you don't have to get a background check to buy a license. Any FFL is required to give you a background check, unless some states do omit it with the concealed carry license that they give you because your fingerprints and everything already on file. You had to get a background check for the permit, but you do have to still get a background check. It's just that the waiting period is no longer there. And I do like to travel to other states, so the concealed carry weapons license is beneficial because I can use that in other areas. Like I mentioned in the last video, I have one here in Florida and I have one in Washington State. Washington State does not offer reciprocity with Florida, so I had to get one over there. But I can conceal carry in about 37 states with the 2 licenses that I have, and the other states that I can't get them in are just really hard to get out-of-state permits, so don't really have any interest in getting them there because it's kind of almost impossible. But with that being said, I hope that cleared up some of the issues that people were having. So yes, it is in effect statewide. People were saying, ask a lawyer. You're not a lawyer. They were getting upset. So I made sure I reached out to him when he reached out to me so that way we could talk. So yes, this is statewide. This stands for the entire state of Florida. The Attorney General is the only one that would be able to challenge it, and he's not challenging it. So it's already been said that it is supposed to be in effect already. Some departments are waiting, but it is in effect. To be on the safe side, I suggest waiting till the 26th and call it a day. Remember to be respectful to police officers. I understand some of you have bad experiences with police, but I promise you, not all of them are bad people. Some of them are very nice people. Again, they're still people under the badge, so you have to keep in mind they're not robots. They do experience different emotions every day. You might catch one on a bad day, so just treat them properly. We all have our bad days and good days as humans, so just treat them with respect. They'll likely reciprocate it to you. Does not mean let somebody violate your rights, but it does mean at least be respectful and don't try to fight them at the moment of contact. If they decide something, let them do what they're going to do, address it in court. Obviously, armed conflicts, avoid them at all costs. Try not to engage into that. It's like 2 sharks fighting. Why would you want to do that? It's just not going to be a good outcome either way it goes. Like, just avoid it. You know what I'm saying? People have families, people have kids. Some people have bad days. Understand that. Try to be the bigger person. As long as they don't pull anything out to try and harm you, just try to walk away. I don't care if somebody calls you a racial slur. I don't care, right? If it's not physical, walk away. That's how I've always been taught and raised. As long as it's not a physical thing, be the bigger person, walk away. Now, if somebody happens to attack you and you have legal right to defend yourself, do so if you need to. But don't go out of the house planning, I want to use the gun. I personally leave the house, I never want to have to use my gun. There have been a couple times I've had to draw it. Yes, I had to. Wasn't in somebody's face, but there were times, like at the gas station, this guy tried to run up on me when I was in the car. It was about 1 a.m. after I got off of work or something like that. And I had to draw it. I didn't have it on him, but he heard it come out the holster, and I was ready to use it if I needed to. But I was really trying to talk him down, and I was like, hey, man, look, what's up? Like, what you got going on? Okay, cool. Yeah, talk to me from back there. Please back up off me. He didn't see the gun, so I didn't brandish, but it was there because I saw his intentions. I saw what he was doing, and I stopped him before he got to jam me up in the car. Wasn't the only situation. There have been a couple others, but I've tried my best to not ever have to use the gun. It's not something I want to do. I don't want to end a human life. I don't want to shoot somebody. I don't want to. It's not something I go out the house looking to do. So you shouldn't either. And if you do want to kill somebody, you're like, oh, I want to really use this gun, don't carry the gun. Just don't. If you have that mindset, please do not carry the gun. Go seek counseling. You should not be trying to kill another human for no reason. So that's a big thing. Practice being level-headed. It's really hard sometimes, but trust me, being the bigger person goes a long way, and it's a lot better for everyone's health. Again, train. Make sure you train with what you have. Definitely practice weapon retention. Definitely practice drawing from whatever holster you use, shooting with your gun, because again, you don't want to be a liability. If you can't hit a silhouette or whatever at the range, you probably shouldn't carry a gun. So again, yes, Florida did remove the restrictions of having to get a concealed carry weapons license. So you have to literally go through no training now, which is a constitutional right. So I understand people's stance on that, but that still falls on you as the gun owner to go be responsible and go learn how to shoot. If you do not know how to shoot, then don't carry the gun. You're going to be more of a liability possibly to yourself and to the citizens around you. I know people personally who have shot themselves. They're both still here, but they have shot themselves. And one of them was actually had a lot of experience with firearms. So don't ever get too comfortable with guns. Just be responsible and be safe. Lastly, I do recommend getting a concealed carry weapons license here in Florida for the reasons I mentioned, primarily the felony situation that a lot of people don't even know about. It's there, but it's not something that's commonly spoken about, so people don't know. But even if you don't, if you've never handled a gun or you want to get into firearms, go train, go get some training, go have somebody try to help you. A lot of times you're watching videos and it's hard to replicate it when you're first getting into guns because you think you're doing it right, but you're not. So have somebody, a second person set of eyes there. Even if you go to the range at one of these gun stores, ask the RSO on duty, hey man, like, can you help me out here? Because a lot of them can shoot. A lot of them are instructors, or, you know, they at least at the bare minimum have learned to use a firearm pretty decently. So ask for some pointers. You're at the range, don't be scared. Ask somebody, hey bro, I see you can shoot pretty well. Can you help me out? Or, you know, I don't know, it's my first time using a gun. Can you help me out? That's what we're here for as citizens, to help our fellow citizen. And the part of training is the important aspect of the Second Amendment. Well regulated. Well regulated does not mean by the government. Well regulated means that you yourself are trained. If I tell you your body is well regulated, that means it's in good working order. That's what well regulated means. So you should be a well regulated, trained civilian if you're going to carry that weapon. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully that answers everybody's questions that were lingering on from the last video. I myself am not a lawyer, so I'm not going to give you outright legal advice on things, but a lot of this just common sense and being a good human being. If you can practice that, you'll be all right. So again, if you have any more questions, comment down below, or you can reach out to me on Instagram at FergTactical. I'll do my best to answer your questions. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next video.